Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you. We're good.
Can you turn your volume down, Emma? We're not going to be able to do that.
Are you and Bernie in the same room?
Yeah, he just turned his volume off.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, you'll echo otherwise.
Oh, yeah. And who's the host? Because I can't share my documents and I'm a little nervous about that because I've never done that before. I practice a lot.
I just grabbed host, so let me go in and fix that piece for you.
Okay.
Okay, you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna just try it just to practice, okay?
Mhm.
Here it is.
That looks good.
I can do it.
Yay!
And then I can stop sharing.
Yes, please, if you don't mind. So we normally give it about 5 or so minutes before people
And
before
we
you
put
start.
the call out on the chat and stats for people to start jumping over to Ignite. So
Yeah, cool.
Where was the other stuff I wanted to share?
Can we hear Zinnia?
Yes.
I heard we're kind of getting started. Aaron's running a little long, so
Okay.
Yes.
it's okay. I put a chat out there for them to jump off that call and jump into yours, so you can get started and keep your time frame. I'm sure you'll have some others kind of piddling in as it begins. So
Okay.
Zinnia, do you want me to stay and host the entire time?
What does that mean for me?
Just I'm here as backup. I'll mute people if need be, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you want to.
Not at all.
Yay. Okay.
not that Mama P needs it, but she's got it. She got the support all day.
Yeah. And then Bernie's here too with his volume off. So
No,
you
boy.
can do it.
Jennifer's looking at us sideways. Don't look at me with that sideways look, Jennifer.
Okay, so let me see everyone. Are we ready or should we wait a couple more minutes?
You know what? Get rolling. We got a recording. They can go back and watch the beginning if they missed out some of it, guys. I want to say thank you so much for joining us on Ignite again. We are blessed with a new instructor, Zinnia, here to give us some awesomeness on your value proposition. It's the story of why people should choose you, and you're going to learn from literally one of the best in the market to do so. So I'd ask that you please, as always, keep your cameras on. And if you don't have background music, background noise, or any kind of dogs barking, unmute yourself so that you can be a part of the conversation. It really does make teaching and coaching a whole lot easier when there's interaction. Head nods, thumbs up, jumping up and down. If Steven needs to do jumping jacks again, we can. It's all about it. It's all about it, guys. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to turn everything over to her. I do need to jump back off to another call, but I will see you guys here in a little bit. So participate as always. Be awesome. Learn something. Let's grow your business.
Thank you, Big Dan. So hi, everybody. I've seen most of you on previous trainings and calls. My name is Senia Polaja, and I work at the Sierra Vista office. Hi, Marla. And the other half of the Polaja group, my son Bernie, who's in this call too, just got his real estate license in August and has joined me. He was shadowing me for a long time, so it seems like we've been working together for longer. So it's been great. I'm very excited about teaching this class, and it was an honor for me to be asked to teach the class as my first one. So bear with me. I did do a lot of research on the class and on our, value proposition, which is something that I think everybody needs to tap into and have it clear more for you than anything else. And that way you know how to conduct your business. So today's class, the main purpose of it is to focus on you and what you bring to the table for your clients, for your business moving forward. And I think it's very important. I had to do a lot of thinking for myself. And I think it'll be okay for you guys to revisit what your value proposition is throughout your career, because it will change. It will change. I think the main focus is to ask yourself what you can bring to the table. What you are providing for your clients, not only in real estate, but a lot of your experiences, where you're coming from, if you've lived in the area where you're working for a long time, and what is that one thing that you want for yourselves to make you unique for your business and for your clients. So I did Ignite before. So I want to start by asking if anybody wants to share anything about Ignite that you're liking so far. Any volunteers? Marla, I know you and I did Ignite together. Has the second time around been different for you?
Definitely.
Yeah, and
Yeah, because I've got a little bit of experience now, so some of the things are clicking more, and
right,
the business
right,
end of it
and
makes more sense.
yeah, I agree. Anybody else has taken Ignite more than once? Yeah, so I would highly recommend that, because I think, just like Marla said, at different stages of our career, we absorb different information. I think it's a great way to go back and revisit everything that we've learned and see if we have applied any of those things to our business. So I would highly recommend doing this more than once. So let's get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So this session will be on delivering your value proposition. Is that something that sounds confusing to you guys? Like, did you look at the material? So do you have an idea what it is that we're trying to accomplish in this session? Bernie?
It's a little overwhelming for me.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, Robin, when I started preparing for today, I guess I hadn't done that for me and for myself in my career in a while. So I had to kind of stop and think. I did make a couple of phone calls just to see, because I wanted you all to walk away with at least an idea and have a better grip of what it is that your value proposition is. So for me, let's see. So the next one, the next slide taps a little bit too. And as we go along, you'll get a better understanding. And stop me if you ever have any questions or feel that the information is overwhelming. Because I think, even though there's a lot of material to cover, what we want to accomplish from today's class is very simple. We need to discover for each and every one of you what your value proposition is going to be for your clients. I want you to remember always that you are an independent contractor. What you are providing to your clients is very unique. We are all real estate agents. We all took the same classes. We passed the test, and now here we are working. But each and every one of you on this call brings something very different, which is what's going to make you stand out, and it's going to make you unique in this business, because there's a lot of us, right? There's a lot of us. And I think if you can really clarify for yourself what that one thing is going to be that's going to make you unique in this business, I think that's going to set you off for very positive things in your career. I think, we can all relate to the slide that's in front of us, because I'm sure, going through Ignite and the classes, we have already seen or discussed what makes an agent, a real estate agent, successful. And I think, there are some things that we can all be doing every day to make our business grow. A lot of it is lead generation. I've been doing that a lot recently with my son, which is something that I had been lacking before. I came from another company and I moved to Keller Williams in January, and it just wasn't something that I was encouraged to do. And I think it's very important, because even though it might seem like a boring, stressful task at times, because as newer agents, we're not used to talking to people. We're not used to talking to people about real estate. But I think it's very important, and it doesn't have to be new people. I think a lot of us forget that we can do that with the people that we already know. So my recommendation to you, if you're a newer agent, is to start lead generating with the people that are already in your sphere, in your community, your neighbors, your friends, and just introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm in real estate, and just start getting comfortable talking about real estate. And after a while, it'll come easier for you. There's a lot of scripts that are available to us Keller Williams agents that will help you make those conversations easier. Has anyone on this call been lead generating already?
Yesterday, I went to 44 houses on my street.
Oh, wow. Door knocking, how was that?
It actually was a lot better, and I'm just really glad that my first day of it is done, because I'm only just about 2.5 weeks into this. So
Wow.
I'm a little overloaded with all the other stuff, but
Yeah.
I wanted finally to just get out there, because I got my business cards, the first like 100 of them in my
Yeah.
name. So I actually, kind of crazy as it sounds, enjoyed it. I got some Christmas stickers and a light up necklace.
Wow.
I took my puppy with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and it was just my street. So like, obviously I kind of knew some of the neighbors,
Yeah.
but I got 9 contact information.
Wow. Congratulations. I find that amazing, because I think that would probably be scarier to me than just getting on the phone, and
No, the phone is very intimidating a little bit to me, unless I know them. Like, I've already did some of my people I know on the phone, but not
Okay.
live, like text.
Yeah.
Just people I know, and like, I'm coming from a different industry, so I have some contacts there. But
Yeah.
that's safe to me, because maybe they're not responding. Calling someone is very scary to me. Even the door knocking, it was a little bit easier. I think the puppy
Yeah,
helped.
because then once you have them face to face, I think automatically there's a friendliness there, they open the door.
They were, I think,
Thinking up on you.
yeah, I think people might have been, they're a little lonely, or this world that we're in and stuff. And I think because I can say I'm a brand new agent on your street, they were a little bit nicer.
Yes.
So
Did you have a script that you had prepared, or you just?
I didn't prepare it how y'all are teaching us to prepare it. I didn't study and practice. No, I decided to try to see how it would go, because I'm very genuine, and if I practice too much, it's going to be fake.
Yes.
So I just rolled with it. I did not talk specifics about anything, because I don't know anything about market, like, besides it's a seller's market. That's all I know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't talk anything like that. You
Right.
know, I literally just said, I want to introduce myself. And if you would like to chat, or if you have a friend who needs anyone, I would love. So that's really all I said.
And I think that's the most important thing to me, honestly. Like I said, scripts are something, you know, and once you get more experience and go to more classes, I agree with you. I think, you know, for me personally, I like to talk, and I think, you know, things like that come easy in conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be about real estate. So always remember that. So I think it's amazing, and it was perfect what you did.
Yeah,
You
like
just
one
knocked
lady
them-
let me in her house, and I
No
saw
way.
her house.
Oh my gosh.
She showed me all the stuff she remodeled, and
Wow.
it's amazing because I have like this same house, you know.
Yeah.
And so I learned just from her alone,
Uh-huh.
like so much stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
See?
So it was cool, and I'm coming from a totally different industry, so in some ways it was really nice to try to sell a different
Yeah.
product.
What did you do before?
I'm coming from food sales,
Okay.
and you know, we know what the industry has happened with COVID, so I was laid
Right.
off. But it, you know, it doesn't matter what you're selling, it's about people and relationships. So I just have to learn the ins and outs.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, we always make all these excuses for ourselves. Like right now, we don't want to go door knocking because of COVID and everything else that's happening, but you took a chance and people actually opened the doors for you and let you in.
Yeah. I mean, I had
So
a
you just
mask,
never know.
and you know, I mean, obviously if somebody, you know, a couple people, I mean, I only went in one house, but
Yeah.
it was definitely better. And I have like 3,000 houses just within walking distance. So
Yeah.
I have a lot to work on just in my neighborhood
Yeah.
to
And I
start.
think if you, once you start doing that, if you keep it consistent, I think in a few months, because, you know, a lot of us want instant rewards and we want the
I do.
listing and we want the contacts, but if you do it consistently, I think it'll pay off for you. So good job.
Thanks.
Good job. So what I was going to say about scripts is that it doesn't have to be, I think I read them. And then if you can log in pieces that you like, you know, that way when you're talking to people and they say something, it almost becomes automatic for you to answer or respond. It doesn't have to read exactly like the script said, but you just have the knowledge and the information so that you don't have to think about what you're saying, and it becomes more comfortable when you're having conversations, and then it's not overwhelming. When I started at Keller Williams, I was dealing with this buyer who was making very low offers every single time. I mean, I made so many offers for this guy, it was driving me crazy, and I couldn't understand what his motivation was or how to get him out of not understanding that a low offer in our market was not going to be the winning offer. So then, of course, you know, where I was coming from, that wasn't a thing, scripts. So then I started talking to other agents here in my office and asking for advice. And they pointed me to some scripts, and I kid you not, I just read him, so I kind of had an idea of what I was gonna say the next time he wanted to make a low ball offer, and I used it, and it was something like, you know, number one, showing him numbers wise how it wasn't really gonna make a difference in the end for his payments. Do you wanna win the house? You know, little pieces of information that I took out of the scripts, and we finally made a good, decent offer, got him into a house, and that nightmare was over. But it just teaches you to overcome those objections with people. And it was amazing to me. What you have to think about is that they have done the research. So the scripts are, you know, something that somebody has worked on really hard to help us agents. So I would definitely look into those. I don't know if anyone else on this call, Marla, have you been studying scripts or anything like that, practicing?
Not as much as I should. I've been observing Charity a lot.
Ditto.
One thing that comes easy for me is dealing with clients that are my own age because, you know, you have something definitely in common.
Mhm.
And
So
so a
those
couple
are
of times we've met with clients that are downsizing because their kids have moved on. Well, I can definitely relate to that. And so, you know, we talk about how the house has so many memories and it's really a hard decision to move, you know, just things like that that I can relate to. And that kind of helps
yeah.
break the ice and make things more comfortable.
Okay, so I just want to note, as we go along this session, make a note of things like that, because Marla, that's part of your value proposition. You know, when you're dealing with people that have had the same experiences as you, there's immediate connection, right? So yeah, pay attention to those things, because there's going to be an activity later on where you are going to have to write down the things that you think you bring of value to your clients. Making seller and listing presentation is something that I am still personally working on. Of course, you know, I do it, but it's not a structured thing for me. So that's something that I'm continuously working on. So the point being is that you can be really new, 2.5 weeks in, or have, you know, a little bit more experience like me. And, you know, we are continuously working on things. Don't think that you have to do everything right now. Don't ever think that you have to have everything perfect. I don't. It's always going to be a work in progress. So be patient with yourself. There's a lot to learn and a lot of things to do. Same thing with buyer presentations. One thing I did start doing when I moved over to Keller Williams, before, I used to just meet my buyers at the property that they wanted to look at. I don't know if that's anybody else's practice, and it worked out for me. You know, not to say that it didn't work out, but since Keller Williams, I've started trying to meet my clients in the office. And that way I can sit down and calmly get more information from the buyers. And I think it makes the rest of the transaction easier. We just had some buyers, Bernie and I, that we met at the house. Yesterday, we find out that this lady has 20 dogs. Exactly. I don't know the details, but she has 20 dogs. But had we had that buyer's consultation, I am pretty sure that that would have come up, you know, in talking to them. We didn't know. So now we know they need to stay in the country. They need space. They need a fenced in yard, you know, all those little things. So I would highly recommend, if possible, try to meet your buyers in your office. Get, you know, have a conversation with them, and set out your expectations. In that buyer's presentation, you are going to be able to present your value proposition. And I think your relationship will be a little more solid than if they just call and say, hey, can you meet me at this property? You know what I mean? I think there's a little bit more of a foundation that you can set up if you have that first initial meeting at your office. Highly recommend it.
Or what about at their house?
For a listing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a little different, because more than likely, if you're selling the house, you're gonna wanna see it.
Oh, right. Okay.
But it'll be the same. So just treat that appointment as a consultation, which is usually what I do. Selling a house, I think it's a lot of pressure, you know, for these people. So what I try to do, the first meeting is just a consultation. Why are you moving? Where are you moving? What are your expectations? Kind of, you know, have them show you the house. Another thing that I would not recommend is that initial meeting with your sellers to go through the house and tear it apart. You know, now for me, since I've had a few home inspections, I go into the house and things jump at me. Be very careful not to offend your sellers that first initial meeting. Kind of just have a consultation. That's why, and I think in Command, we have a lot of resources, and it'll have your listing presentation, things that you need to know out of that initial consultation. So yeah, for buyers, usually meet them at the office, and listings, like I said, it's a little bit different, but you know, just the same, treat it as a consultation, even if it's at their house. So these, you know, we're talking about things right now, habits, if you want to call them that way, that are going to make us successful. If you keep this information and go back to it, you know, whenever possible, I think you are going to form habits that are going to be very helpful for you in your business. These are things that we're always going to be working on. Lead generation, how are we doing it? Door knocking, calling, seller and listing presentations. Like I said, I'm still working on mine. Preview real estate. So when I started, and Bernie has been doing this now, there's always something to do to keep you busy. Look at your MLS and go take a look at vacant homes. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that on a regular basis, knowing what's on the market. If you don't have a buyer, you're getting experience opening doors, going into the houses, looking for things, you know, just getting the experience of looking at homes through the eyes of a real estate agent that might have a potential buyer. So I would highly recommend doing that. When Bernie first started, we would just drive around and show and look at vacant houses so that he could learn how to open, you know, the Supra key and unlock. Because sometimes when I started, nobody did that for me. And I was so scared and nervous when I got to a listing. First of all, where's the box? You know, locating the box, and then, you know, opening it, opening the door, make sure that the key went to the right door. And that, you know, at the same time, talking to your buyers, entertaining them, asking questions, you know, so it was a little overwhelming for me. So you can always preview real estate and make that a habit. Right now here in Sierra Vista, we're not having tours. You know, we used to do that every Tuesday. So my recommendation to you would be pick 2 or 3 houses, you know, every day, if there's nothing going on, that you can go take a look at. And these are all habits that are going to grow our business. On the other side, we are still, you know, doing things to grow our business, but we have to run our business. So we're always marketing. Starting off, marketing can get very expensive. So one thing that I did right off the bat was build a good relationship with a lender. They will help you with marketing. So now any marketing that I do for listings, they do it for me. Sometimes depending on how I want to market a certain property, they will pay 50-50. We'll go 50-50. Sometimes they just do it all. If I have open houses, they give me everything that I need for open houses. So what I would do, if you don't already have a lender that you are connected with, interview, ask for recommendations in your office, in your market center, and at least interview three lenders and see who you connect with. Because now for me, in my value proposition are the relationships that I have built with my lender.
Do the lenders compete against each other, right? Of how low they can get the loan for the buyer? Is that what they do between themselves?
It just depends on the company. It depends on the company. Like here, you know, we have Nova, we have Sun Street, we have Guild. And in my experience, they all have different things to offer. So that would be another thing. That would be absolutely another thing that I would find out. What do you offer? I'm going to bring you clients. I'm going to bring you business. Tell me what you have to offer to them. And then you can find out. Like my lender specializes in VA loans.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
which
Okay.
is
so
very
they
good
have
for me
specialty-
because we have, you know, the base right here. We have a lot of VA buyers in our area. So definitely, and that gives you the knowledge, you know, say you get a buyer, say from, you know, your door knocking, you're gonna get a referral and you have a buyer and he's gonna come to you and say, I'm looking for a house. I was, you know, I'm a veteran. So immediately, you know, you have a VA buyer.
Right.
What type of loan is gonna, you know, tell you a lot of the houses that you're gonna be able to show. So you wanna know that, you know, I think the biggest part of our jobs is to know the most we can about what we're doing.
Yeah. And
So
that
the
being a rookie is hard because there's so much to learn to know what you're
and you'll
doing.
get there. Yeah, you will get there. But see, let me tell you something. When I first started, I knew nothing. Nothing about, you know, loans. I had bought a house, but you just sign the papers and, you know, you go on with it. But having an experienced lender that I had a relationship with made a big difference. That's another thing that, you know, don't ever think that you're alone. If you have a good relationship with the lender, with an escrow officer, with a title company, those people are part of your team.
Right.
So if you don't know, you can pick up the phone and they will know. Somebody will know. You have to surround, you know, yourself with people that are always going to be there to answer your questions. And you know, the sooner you start those relationships, the better, because being so new to this business is going to make a lot of difference for you.
Yeah, I have 2 loan officers I met already. I'm having lunch with one on Monday.
Perfect.
I gotta
Perfect.
try to
Those
get
are-
them to pay for some stuff for me.
That's how I started. It was a lunch meeting and now, you know, we've done so many transactions together. I never feel like I have to, you know, your knowledge, I would recommend always, you know, doing the research for yourself, but I'm not a lender.
All right.
You know what I mean? You have to have somebody that you can call and say, hey, does this property qualify for this type of loan?
Right.
And then, and as you go, you know, you're gonna learn all those things.
Yeah.
But those, I think those relationships are vital for your
You have
business.
to find an appraiser too, huh? That you like to.
They do. Yeah, the
Okay.
lenders do.
Oh,
yeah.
the lenders do that.
The lenders do that. I've had some conversations with appraisers here in the area, but just for research purposes, when you're listing a property. And, you know, we've had them at meetings, you know, in the office, and it's always good to know what they know so that you can set the expectations, especially for your sellers,
Right.
or
Uh-huh.
how they do the appraisals,
Yeah.
which is very much like a CMA.
Okay.
So yeah, you have a lot to learn and you will get there. So when we're running our business, we're showing buyers houses, correct? So I know all of you are new to the business. Have you had a lot of experience showing houses? No, Robin? Not yet? So
I've been in it about 1.5 years. I've actually had quite a few opportunities to show houses. I've closed about 12 so far.
good for you. Yeah, and I think, you know, for me, that was possibly the funnest part. You know, once you get over opening, you know, doors and stuff like that, I think, you know, just make it fun. You know, just make it fun. The more houses you show, of course, the more comfortable you're gonna be. And then find what works for you. There's a lot of agents who follow the people around. If it's occupied, of course, you have to. There's a lot of agents who wait in the kitchen for them or wait outside. What I find is that every buyer is different. Sometimes I want to wait in the kitchen, but then I hear them asking me questions from the back of the house, so then I follow them. So I think you have to, once again, find out what works for different people and then tailor or customize your services accordingly. And I think a big part of your value proposition, you're going to have the core values that you offer, but you always have to be open to customizing those values to your client. And I think that's the secret. Of course, we're going to negotiate contracts, transaction management to closing. I always find, that involves the other agent. You always have to, once again, stay on top of everything, but always keep in mind that you want to get that transaction to closing. Once you've negotiated the contract, there's a lot of steps that you're going to have to do to keep that transaction and get it to closing. A lot of things can go wrong. What I feel is if you keep open communication with the other agent, more than likely, you're going to be able to solve any issues that come in between. Don't give up. I think when you are faced with a difficult situation, a difficult transaction, there's always a solution. Unless the buyer doesn't want the house anymore or the seller, something that's beyond your control, anything else, there's always a solution. And for me, what works best is to find the win-win situation. You don't want to take advantage of the sellers, and you don't want to make the buyers feel like they're not getting what they want. Find that in between, and you will always get your transaction to the closing table. The vendors, they are referring to everybody that you use. You're going to need a home inspector. You're going to need a termite inspector. So just like your relationship with the lender, those relationships are very important. Because if you think about it, you are the independent contractor. These are people who you are bringing business to. So make sure that they are people who you trust and that work in a like manner like you, that provide the same quality of service that you want to bring to your clients. I think a big part of running our business is always setting goals. All of you being newer to the business, I think it's easier for you to do that. And even if you don't meet those goals, always have them as a guide to your business. And once again, just like your value proposition, your goals are going to change as your business go along. Of course, compliance and risk management, we're always supposed to keep track, of our files, and that loop, make sure that we're always looking at that. If you have one transaction or two, make sure that you visit those, hopefully on a daily basis, to make sure that everything's in order, because the worst thing is to close on a transaction and then not get paid, for a few days because you're not in compliance. Learning your contract, learning all your forms. What I would do when I started, I would make fake transactions and just read, through all the forms. And Bernie, of course, is still going through that, but it's very important to know all your forms. Training and coaching. I've never been in a company that offers more training and coaching than Keller Williams. How are you guys finding that? Is that overwhelming for anyone? Yeah.
Great.
Like too much coaching?
Yeah, like is there too much information for you right now?
No, I want it more. Like I want it.
Yeah.
It is a lot of information.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding out at the end of the day, I'm sitting going, oh my God, what am I going to do now? What am I supposed to be doing? And I'm just,
Yeah. There's a lot of information.
there is.
Yeah. Like we did our orientation and I missed something about some green screen. I'm like, what? I didn't do anything about some green something or other. I'm like, okay, I don't need to worry yet, I guess.
Absolutely.
And because that's about your commission, right?
I know. Yes. But I was like, well, I don't have a buyer or a seller anywhere on the horizon. So I'm like, I guess I have a few days I just didn't go sign up for it or whatever I have to do.
Yeah, there is a lot. Don't let it overwhelm you. I like it too. I like the training and I like learning. And what I'm finding since January is, like I told Marla, when you revisit the training and the coaching, you are going to learn different things all the time.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, this is a learning-based company. And even if you think, okay, well, I didn't get anything of that meeting, or I forgot what they said, or it was too much information, just know that it's gonna come back, just like Ignite. Yeah, and the awesome thing too is that there's always somebody there to help, always, which is the
Yeah.
amazing thing I think about this company. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's fine. I think it's normal. Everything's new right now. Just know there's always somebody to help, and it'll come back. The information will always come back.
And another thing, if you miss a training, you can usually get it on YouTube. There's
Yes.
always training offered.
Oh, yeah.
It's always recorded, or usually.
Yeah, so you can revisit. There's a lot of times that I want to go to a training and I miss it for appointments or whatever reason. And I love that I can go back and find them and look at them, you know, on my own time.
How long have you been in it besides Keller? You said January, but how many before?
Yeah, so I renewed my license in July for the second time. So 4 years, 4.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I feel, you know, for me, my experience, I feel like I have enough experience, but I'm still new enough that I'm learning. I think I wish I would have joined Keller Williams earlier in my career.
Oh, I like to hear that, because that whole thing about all these different brokers and what they offer and what's happening, and not to compare yourself and your decision and like, oh, did I choose the wrong one to start?
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling.
Well, I think it's normal. I think as independent contractors, we have choices.
Yeah.
I think for me, the reason I decided to join Keller Williams was for Bernie. I started with a very small company here in town that didn't offer any training at all. I think it was more suited for seasoned agents who didn't need that anymore. They just did their job and went on with it. The second company, it was kind of the same thing. Nothing negative other than I felt underwhelmed. I didn't feel like there was any room to grow. It wasn't very motivating for me. So I was feeling like that, but it was fine. You know, there was nothing, no complaints other than that. So when Bernie said, Mom, I want to become a real estate agent, I went into a little bit of panic mode and I said, you know what, I can't do this by myself. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough business. What am I going to do? I don't want to teach him bad habits, all those things. And I had been looking into Keller Williams for a little bit just because I had friends who worked here. I couldn't have made a better decision because I think, you know, I feel that I have the support. I feel that Bernie has the support and the learning capability, like you know, in my experience that I have not seen.
That's good.
It's a learning-based company. Their technology is unlike any other. And just from me being here, it suits me and Bernie. So, I mean, it's hard for me to tell you if you made the right decision. Yeah. You just have to, for me, for Keller Williams, you just have to plug in like you've been already doing, and you're gonna reap the benefits. You have to take advantage of what this company has to offer, and it's not gonna be a negative thing, because regardless of whether you stay with this company or you go somewhere else, I think the potential of learning here is beyond anything that I've seen in any other company.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
And feeling overwhelmed, I think it's a normal feeling. I wouldn't say that's a bad thing because it's so new. Like I remember when I started, writing my first contract was terrifying for me. It was a Saturday and I was in the office where the first company where I started, there was nobody there. Nobody. My broker was unreachable over the weekend.
Oh.
I almost pooped myself. I really did. I felt so bad for my client. and she was the nicest, most patient lady. But I mean, reading the contract, I really, I was completely lost. So if anything, you know, here you can call anybody. The offices, you know, they're always open. There's always somebody around, which I really appreciate, especially, you know, having the responsibility of teaching my son the business. I'm very happy, and I feel, you know, like this, it's an amazing company. So just get plugged in, make sure that you're taking advantage of, you know, the learning, the classes, the coaching. Sometimes you're going to learn a lot, sometimes not, you know, but take what you can take from every learning opportunity, and then one day it'll make sense to you. Managing money, I think it's something else that this company is very good at helping us, because I had no clue. You know, I didn't have a business plan. I wasn't tracking my money, my expenses, or anything like that. So any chance that you have to take any money related classes or coaching, do it, because I think that's very, very important. So let's go to our next slide right here. So I think, you know, I'm excited for all of you. I know some have a little more experience than others in this class, but I think by defining your value, you are going to set yourself and your business up for a more solid foundation than other agents do, because I believe, you know, some agents just start working, you know, they start working and they forget that you own your own business. This is you. Bernie and I are the Polaha group. We have to take that serious. We have to have consistency in what we offer to our clients. I think, what Marla, for you, have you had any experience with this? You said, you know, your age and your experience with your kids growing and being out of the house, you know, that's of value, you know, because
Right.
I feel like people want to feel like you understand them. Is there anything else that you can say you have of value other than charity to bring to the table?
And that's what I see as my biggest point is, you know, when you have an emotional tie with someone, it means more, I think. I think it means a lot to, right now we're working with buyers that want to downsize, you know, their kids are out, and it's a tough decision for them because they're leaving something behind that they have ties to, you know, but because I can relate to that, and I don't know, it just seems to make things flow easier because we have something in common.
Right. What about
different agents will have different commonalities, if that's a word,
Yeah,
you know, with their clients.
for sure. Yeah, and I see, so that might be, you know, like your market, like the people that you want to lead generate, like a retirement community,
Mhm.
people downsizing, you know, moving from their family home to something smaller. And of course, you know, I think every city has those specific communities. So when you're lead generating, you know, that would be somewhere that you can concentrate.
Right. And then Charity, being a younger person, you know, she's helped several first-time home buyers, and, you know, there's a kind of a connection there because
Yeah.
the younger people are looking to get into a home for the first time. And, you know,
Yeah.
it depends on where you are in life, but you can touch people, you know, that you have ties with, things in common with.
Absolutely. So I think, you know, just like Marla, I think we all have, you know, those little things, and it's not as overwhelming as you may think. You just have to look at your life experience, your previous jobs, you know, things that you have experienced in your life, and that's going to be your value proposition. For me specifically, my husband retired from the Army. And now he's a Border Patrol agent. So I have experience with moving and all those things. Border Patrol agents, we haven't moved. He picked his station and we have not moved, but I have a lot of friends that have moved. So I'm familiar with that, with what it means to just pick up everything, your lives, and go to your next station, whether it be military or border patrol. Another thing is I feel, like I'm still a mom, I have Bernie and then I have a 16-year-old son. So I have that, experience. I'm a working mom. So anybody that comes to me, with those types of life experiences, I can tap into that. Anybody else want to share right now if there's anything that's coming to mind that you think you're going to be able to share, with your clients? What about you, Desiree?
I'm not sure exactly. I come back from transport. I was a school bus driver for 9 years. And then after that, I worked with the behavioral health services, running their transportation department. So, I mean, I don't know how I could do that, but I mean, on a regular level, I'll be turning 40 soon. I have 2 girls. So, I mean, I have that to, work with as well, just the family. My dad is a retired veteran. So I do know how they have to do the VA loans. We kind of help, walk with them on that one too. So I guess there's a few things that I can use.
Yeah, there's a few things. And you say you're going to be turning 40. So I turned 40 the day I started my classes. It was funny how it worked out. It was April 5th, 4.5 years ago, however long that was. So I felt, more than real estate experience at that time. All I had to offer was life experience and moving and doing all that stuff. So driving a school bus, maybe you are going to be good under stress, when you have a stressful situation and kind of calming people down, that could be something. And I feel, you're going to find those as you go along and you start talking to clients. You are getting to know yourself as much as you're getting to know those people. What about you, Robin? What is coming to mind to you right now?
For life experiences, I've had so many. I've had to help raise grandchildren. Right now, I'm helping deal with foster children. I have traveled across the country 3 different times in 3 different years. I've lived in various states. I have ran 3 different businesses, so I've got, when you're talking about that, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh, what do I have? What do I have? Well, wait a minute. Look what you have.
Exactly. Yeah. And I find, that it's things that we don't necessarily feel fit into real estate. Am I right?
Yes.
And like I said, when I was researching and getting prepared for this class, I really found that, for me to teach this class, because they just asked me, do you want to teach a class? And this is what we have left. But it was almost perfect for me because when I started in real estate, I had been a stay-at-home mom for 16 years. So I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. So I studied really hard and I tried to learn the contracts and the forms and everything. But really, what we have to offer is more than that. And just like Desiree said, I think, when we find things that are connecting us to people, we are in the people business. And I think, when you find a connection with them, I think your business is going to grow. Because it's going to set you apart. A lot of agents are in it for the money, for the transaction, the number of transactions, and they forget that we're building relationships.
Yeah, people buy from people they like, and it's all just, you can relate to people. You can find something. It doesn't matter if it's exactly the same, but everybody has similar traits, and you just, find it, and you can connect with people pretty easily.
Absolutely. And I think, if you allow yourself to make those connections, a lot of times it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of feelings and emotions involved. And I think, for me, I have learned, this is our business. We want to keep a good balance because I'm a very, very emotional person. And I have learned with time to keep those in check so that you can better service your client. You're going to find clients that are going to drain you from the beginning of the transaction to the end. I like those challenges because, when I saw that on the slide, manage your transaction and bring it to the closing table. I think a lot of agents right in the middle of the transaction, if it gets a little bit hard, they give up and they're like, nope, I don't have to deal with this. This is not the client for me. Find any reason to cancel the transaction. But then what happens? There's a seller who had other plans. They were moving, whatever, and a buyer that needed a house. So let's just, if you really want that house, if this is a transaction that we can keep together, I can calm down, check my emotions and close on that transaction. I think that's very rewarding. I want to share with you, in my research, I was looking at some videos and I found this agent, Keller Williams agent. I think she was in Boston. So she was very committed to her value proposition. She came up with this value proposition early in her career, and she said she has it printed and framed in her office so that she can always refer to it when she starts getting busy or things are getting difficult in her business. And this is what she said. I think she said a little bit of her experience buying and selling homes in the past and her experience with real estate agents. And then she said, my promise to my clients is to support you with all your needs, wants, and goals above my own. I will do this honestly, with honesty, integrity, and patience to ensure the best possible outcome for you. And then she has a question. Would I be the kind of agent you would work with? And she puts this in her listing presentations and her buyer's presentation. So this is something that keeps her grounded and focused on how she wants to do her business. And I think it, even though it's very simple, the things that she brings to the table is, she promises every client to support them with all of their needs. And she is going to put their goals above her own. So let's just say that you need, a couple more transactions, to meet your goals, but this is not the right house for your buyer. Are you going to let go of your goal so that your buyer finds a better home? That's a question that you need to ask. What's more important to you, to hit that number or to find a better house for your client? You need to operate your business with honesty, integrity, and patience. A lot of patience. And the best possible outcome has to be for your client. And so I found it very interesting how simple it was. But I mean, do you know anyone who would say, no, that's not the kind of agent that I would want to work with if this is what you are told that an agent is going to do for you? And I like the fact that she printed it and she had it somewhere in her office so that she can take a look at it every day. Which is something that I need to do just to keep focused and never forget, that, the things that you bring to the table are valuable. So that's, the main focus of this session is to find those things for you. I think we kind of tapped into a little bit of that, Desiree, Robin, your experiences. Let's see if we can really defined what that value is going to be for you. So your value, a value proposition, it's a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working for you. Because like I said at the beginning, there's a lot of real estate agents. There's a lot of them. What are you gonna bring to your customer that it's gonna make them wanna work with you and then refer you other people? Your value proposition should clearly convey all the things you do to earn the fee you charge. And also it's a covenant between you and the customer. So it's an agreement of what you are gonna do for this client. How will having prepared your value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to closed? So let me ask you something, because I'm sure you've all taken a few Ignite sessions. Everything that you've learned so far, how does a value proposition either change the way you were thinking you were going to do business or make it even better than how you were feeling before? Anyone? Bernie?
I think it just reiterates for myself to market myself the most and keep remembering that it doesn't matter like how much exact real estate experience I have all the other stuff in my years of successful sales and integrity and honesty and follow through and customer service that I can be just as good of an agent, even though I don't really know what I'm doing.
Love that. I love that because I think, you know, even though like Bernie, we were going through this class earlier, he has no experience other than, you know, the couple months we've been working together. So Bernie, what would you think your value proposition would be like for your clients right now?
So, okay. So right now, because I'm just starting out, my value proposition, I was recommended to say this if a client ever asked me, Bernie, you don't have any knowledge, you're just starting out. And I say, that's a benefit to you because you're going to be my only client. So all my attention is going to be targeted towards you. So that would be what I bring to the table, is that all my attention is on you. I don't have to think about anybody else, so that I could provide you the best service of my ability.
Bernie, you also look as like the same age as me. I don't know how old you are, but when I get asked that too, I also say that I have a wonderful team working behind me. And I also say what you just said.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm 18. I don't know how old you are.
19.
How old are you, Jacob?
19.
19.
It's amazing the range that people can be in this business. I mean,
Absolutely. And I think that's the beautiful thing about it. You know, like Marla was saying, I think Bernie, we've had a couple of first-time home buyers and he can relate more, you know, to them and their experience and being that he, you know, wants to buy a house soon. So we all have something to offer. We all have something to offer. We might not have years and years, 15 years of experience, but if we can tap into those valuable things, because honestly, I think, you know, clients are going to come back to us out of that personal connection that we made to them more than anything else, because that's what people want. They want to feel like you are providing them, like they're your only client. They really do. I mean, it's the biggest investment of their lives, the biggest move of their lives. So they want to know that you value them, that you hear them, and that you understand what you're going through. Because the more transactions you do, I think you start losing a lot of that personal touch. Oh, it's just another transaction. But I think if you can always keep in front of you your value proposition and that personal connection that you're going to make, I think that's going to set you apart. Let's see, where were we? Okay, so we talked about the value proposition, and I think we have enough information to start researching within ourselves how we're going to craft a simple description of the benefits that we're going to bring to our client. Keep it simple, keep it short, and keep it authentic. That's another thing. This is you, and this is your business. Every time that we talk to a client, we have the opportunity to convey to them, this is what I bring to the table. When you start having interviews and you want that job, you want to let them know in a simple way that this is what you bring to the table. Another important thing is if you're talking to a client and they say something in that conversation that you can tap into to customize your services, I think that's also something very important that you need to keep in mind. People are different and they're gonna want different things from you. Once you have that value proposition, make it an agreement. Always keep it in mind so that you are following through to your clients. 3 aspects of service is the next step in our roadmap. There's purpose, knowing the underlying purpose of the real estate profession, value proposition, which is something that we're going to work on together, and then your fiduciary duties to your client. Fiduciary is a word that is very closely related to trust. You are going to be entrusted with a lot of personal information from people, and they need to know that they can trust you. And you as a realtor have an obligation to act in the best interest of the other party. So, you know, 3 simple aspects of real estate service that you always need to keep in mind. Purpose, value proposition, and fiduciary. What is the underlying purpose of real estate? And we find that it's different for buyers and sellers. For buyers, it's about finding them the right home at the best price in the right time. How hard is that in today's market? And of course, with the least amount of problems. And I think for me, one of the things that I provide of value to my clients is to let them know that I can solve those problems. I like that. I like challenges, but you always need to let them know that if there's a problem, it doesn't mean that it's the end of the transaction. You need to find the solution. For sellers, it's about netting the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. And once again, you know, it's big promises and every transaction is different, but I honestly believe that you can always get there for your buyers and your sellers. What happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate? If you don't have this training and you don't understand what people's expectations are, how do you think your transaction is going to go? What's going to happen in your experience taking care of buyers or sellers? Anyone? Bernie? So if you don't know, and if you are not educating yourself enough to understand what clients, and that means sellers and buyers, what their expectations are you providing a good service to them? Are you able to solve those issues?
No, it'll probably fall through.
Probably fall through, or probably you're not going to get a referral from those people.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, as a realtor, what are some of the problems you have anticipated for your clients and what have you done to avoid them? Anybody with any experience have you had any closings, Desiree? Heather? No closings yet. What about Jennifer? No closings yet. Stephen?
Brand new.
Brand new. Marla? What are some problems that you have anticipated for your clients and that you have been able to avoid?
What have I anticipated?
Yeah. So for me, really quick, what comes to mind, we just listed a house that had a lot of wood rot. You
Okay.
know, like the fascia was a mess. So we went to the
Mhm.
listing appointment, and that was something that we suggested be done in case we had a VA offer. Guess what kind of offer we had?
Right, VA. That's one I'm working with right now. There's a VA offer. My buyer has a VA loan and it needs termite treatment. The pest inspector called out, that it needs treated. So, but it's doable.
Yeah,
The
it's very
buyers
doable.
agreed to pay for the treatment. And so, we're working through it.
It's a problem that you can anticipate and a problem that you can solve.
Mhm.
So moving forward with every one of you, I think the more you do it, those are things, like I said, now I go into a house and I'm like a freaking home inspector, like that doesn't look right, you need to fix that, you need to fix that. So I need to make sure that I don't go into the first initial appointment, but also this is part of your job. You have to be professional, but you also have to let your clients know. In my experience, this is what I've seen. Or other people prior to listing their homes, these are the things that they do to avoid problems later. We're gonna move on to your value proposition. So of course, this is the title of our session today. And I really hope that we have at least started to dig into our lives and ourselves and things that we now are aware that we can bring to the table. So as we reflect on this definition, I think we've all kind of tapped into things that we bring of value to our clients and to the table. So we will continue to work on this as we go on in our business. I think it's very important. We're gonna learn contracts, we're gonna learn a lot of everything else, but if you tap into this, once again, it's gonna set you apart from other agents. Does anybody need a break? Because we have a little bit more to go. Anybody need a break? Or we're all good? Okay, so we'll just keep going. I'm very impressed that I can share my screen.
I'm sorry, but I do need a break. I've got a 3-year-old I've got to contend with.
Okay, that's fine. Let's take 5 minutes. Is that okay with everyone?
That's probably going to take me about 10. She's 3.
Okay, we'll get caught up, when you come back. We'll take 5 minutes and then meet you back here and then we'll see where we are.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Has it been 5 minutes or 10?
Yeah.
Yep. Here we are. One more thing I wanted to add on this slide on value proposition that I found very helpful for me is that it will help you hold you accountable to high standards. So if you can find, even if it's not your final value proposition, if you can tap into that, I think it'll help you because you will know going into meetings or interviews with your clients what your expectations are for yourself moving forward. We talked about fiduciary. A functionary is one who completes tasks for the client. And a fiduciary completes tasks and goes beyond by placing their client's interest ahead of all others, even their own. It's a word that you're going to see come up and up again in coaching and classes. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients. Never forget that. Know and state your value. And once again, the whole purpose of this session is to get you to start thinking about your own unique specific value that you are bringing to your business. So Stephen, I'm sorry to call on you. Do you tell me a little bit about your experience in real estate? You said you have no closings. Has anything come to mind to you about what your value proposition is going to be moving forward in your business?
I don't have any sales or buys or anything under my contract under me, but my wife and I we bought our first home and then we moved into this home. We used 2 different real estate agents, and we didn't use either one of them again for their own specific purposes. Especially our most previous one will most likely never contact me again if she's smart. Her fiduciary duties and the way she handled us gave us hope that we can do a lot better. I've been in people skills and restaurants and bartending and customer service my whole entire life. I'm very adaptable. And to be treated that way, it showed us what we want to bring to the table to our next set of people and everybody that we deal with, which is honesty, which she did not have. The trickery that I felt, even if it benefited me, it didn't feel good the way she did it and what she was doing to the seller, so forth and so on. So that's what gave me and my wife, Desiree, so much hope in going forward is how we're going to treat people. And that will be basically our proposition when we get done.
I love that. I absolutely love that because I think it's the best way, having had that experience is the best way to now know how you're going to treat a client. And that's how I always think, you know, if this client, this buyer or seller, if they were me or part of my family, how would I treat them? And I think, you know, that's one of the things that's going to set you apart. So essentially thank that agent, you know, for having done, even though it was not a good experience.
Well, anything I've ever did, I flipped and worked on cars, created several businesses before this, but time versus money and away from the family, I ended those. I didn't want to do them. But my biggest problem in most sales fields is, which will hopefully benefit me here, is I don't know how to distinguish seeing the person as a person. I've never been able to see somebody as money. I always sold the car for less than I should because I felt sorry for them. I always gave them more for whatever reason because I saw them as a person instead of numbers. And from everything I've learned from Keller Williams and all the testimonials, that should benefit me quite nicely, hopefully.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, for me, I feel like that's one of the best parts of this business. This will be my best year so far in real estate.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And not for any other reason than I started tapping into that. And I'll give my money away left and right. Bernie is keeping me in check on that, but I will always help anyone. But I told him, I don't remember what specific experience we had, but it always pays me back. Being the way I am and sticking to that and keeping my values right in front of me all the time, even though I might lose some money in one transaction, it has always come back way bigger and better.
I agree. Money versus the values. Desiree has some very strong values I've always respected her for. And so we both have these standards that the money will not come before it. It won't ever bother me about that type of thing. I hope anyway.
Yes, and in my experience, I'm telling you, it always, it's what you give, you get back, I mean, 3 times over. And it really, now that I have experience, like I said, I don't have 15 years experience, but I have enough experience to start seeing the benefit of holding to those values. So I think this session in Ignite, if anything, could be the most important, because it's going to be that which sets you apart from that agent, you know, that treated you with not a fiduciary duty, no honesty. As long as we hold to those values, we are going to have so much business that we're not going to know what to do with, which has been my experience. So now, 4 years into it, I start seeing referrals. So I worked hard, you know, for the leads and the first clients, and now basically my business is referral based. I'm still lead generating and doing all of that, you know, and Bernie's doing that. But yeah, those clients are going to remember you and send you more business. So our next slide, we start seeing, and once again, you know, everything that you see here comes from a lot of research that we don't have to do ourselves. So you see what buyers want. I mean, look at that pie chart. You know, a big chunk of it is help find the right home to purchase, of course. In that, you know, there's a lot of other things, of course, that are going to come into play, but that's a big part of it. You know, a lot of buyers nowadays have a lot of resources, but I think our knowledge, our research, and the things that we are exposed to on a daily basis are going to make the home buying process a lot easier for them. We have access to pocket listings. We know the market. We're always learning. So I think it's invaluable what we can bring to a buyer. So at the buyer's consultation, have a conversation always about what's important to them. I can't emphasize enough how important that conversation is, because you know, people are different. Just like Stephen and Desiree had specific needs when they were, you know, going through the process of moving, that agent more than likely didn't have that conversation with you. You know, they have different focuses. And I think, you know, a big part of this company is, you know, that we hold our values very closely, our integrity, and we are held to different standards. You know, we are kept in check, that we're held accountable. So we are going to be able to better service buyers and sellers. And it'll be easy, you know, it'll be easy to focus on the things in the kind of business that we are offering them. And this one, so this is what they want, you know, helping them find a home to purchase. Help the buyer negotiate the terms of the sale, help with price negotiations, and then there's a big chunk that's other. You know, like I said, it's very complex, but this kind of simplifies for us what buyers want. Now, on the other hand, what they value is the reputation of that agent. So do you think, Stephen, that you're gonna ever refer business to this last agent that you work with?
Yeah, no, she'll never contact. And even just explaining it to my friends and family, they all told me that I would have already canceled that agent, but it was a complicated process and we have 2 kids involved. And I flat out told her if it wasn't for our 2 children, this whole experience would have went extremely different.
Yeah.
Thing is, she didn't know that me and Desiree were in Hogan Real Estate School at the time. So everything she was doing, she didn't understand how easily we could have sued her very, very badly for some of the things that she did on her stuff. So
Yeah. And I think, for me and my experience, agents like that are the reason why a lot of people don't like realtors, and I hate that. So always go with that in mind, that I understand, like for sale by owners, once you start seeing why people are not using real estate agents, that agent is the reason why. So we need to set ourselves apart so that we always give them a wonderful experience and they want to use us and they want, to recommend us to somebody else. So reputation is very, very important. And then, that we're honest and trustworthy. And then, we have a little piece right here. Agent is a friend or family member. So of course they're going to value that, but I don't know that I've sold anything, maybe a couple, but that's very rare, that we find people that would rather work with an agent who's a friend or family member. Sometimes those situations can get a little complicated. Very important is that we know the market. So Bernie and I work in Sierra Vista, Hereford. We've done some business in Tucson, but I think it's very important to always know the area that you're working in. A lot of people are moving here from out of state and they know nothing. So we are part of the, the source of information from all those people moving from out of state. For sellers, what they, are interested in is a little bit different, but it all ties into the same. So the more we know, the better suited we are to help them. Help the seller market the home for potential buyers. We're helping them price the home competitively. For all of you, I cannot stress enough, learn how to do a CMA, comparable market analysis. Play with it, mess with it. I hate him. Thank goodness Bernie likes to do all of that, but it's an invaluable piece of information that you will bring to your listings. Do them all the time. Do one on your house, on your parents' house, on your neighbor's house, until you get comfortable and familiar, because it's the most important piece of information that you're going to bring to a listing appointment.
And where do you start the process to do one?
So on the MLS, are you do you have access to the MLS now?
Yeah, I do. I didn't do anything on it except plug in, like I have a login.
So once you get comfortable looking for properties, there is a little tab on there that is CMA.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
So
I didn't know where it was, if it was in
CMA.
command or.
No, CMA. And that's what, and the reason why that's in there, because that's where you're going to get all your comparables. So practice and do that enough that it's not going to be dreadful like it is for me. Also important to sellers are to help with negotiation and dealing with buyers. So a lot of the same wants and needs that are coming from both buyers and sellers. And also sellers value the reputation of the agent. The pie graph is a little bit different, but we can see if you go back in your material and look at them, that basically in the end is the same things that buyers and sellers want and value from our services. So who are your competitors? So nowadays, because of technology, there's a lot of internet buyers. So a lot of people that are out of state that are looking on the internet, so then they don't really feel that they need us. A lot of those people are investors. So they have cash money. They really don't care. They just want to buy the property, flip it, and resell it. So we have a lot of competition. So I think now more than ever is very important to show our value. Because I think, like Zillow, once you start getting experience with Zillow, is very, very inaccurate. When you start getting buyers, like a lot of our buyers send us properties from Zillow. We had this buyer send us 2 or 3 between yesterday and today, and they were already under contract. But it doesn't say anywhere on Zillow, that they're under contract. So it's very important that you have those conversations with your clients, and they will start seeing your value and calling you rather than looking online. Technology, the technology that we have in Keller Williams it's outstanding. I think, it can be a little overwhelming still for me. I started in January. I've put all my contacts in command. So I think that's very important. If I can give you a piece of advice, if I could do it over when I started, I would have been more organized keeping my contacts. So Nicole, I know you said you got 9 contacts from door knocking, 44 doors. Make sure that you put them in command. If anything, just so that you have them there. When I moved in January from my other company, I really didn't have a system that I could easily transfer my contacts' names, phone numbers, emails to command or anywhere else. So like very old fashioned, I was writing everything down. So it took me a long time to get organized. So do that now. Develop a system of staying in touch with those people that are on your sphere and do it consistently. If it's once a month, once every 3 months, make sure that you're always touching those people, because those are the referrals that you're gonna want. They're people who already know you, like you, and trust you. Those are easy. When you're door knocking, somebody's gonna open the door who hates realtors or who knows what you're gonna get. But if a friend refers you, a client, they're golden, they're precious, they're very little work. They already know who you are. They already know about you. So value those contacts. So we have an activity that, let's see, it's 11:38. A lot of these activities you can do on your own for homework. This one, and like I said, when I did Ignite, I went back, because there's a lot of information that we can't get to in the amount that we have, but I always went back. And now, since you're new, like I said, you always have something to do, whether it's, finding out how to do a CMA, previewing properties, learning how to use your Supra key, or now that we have access to all this learning, go back and do those activities. And it's going to help you. So the activity here in your guide, pages 12 to 13, is you are crafting your value proposition from everything that we've talked about. Now it's time that you're going to sit down and you're going to make a list, just start kind of brainstorming. What can I bring to the table? I think Stephen and Desiree already have a really good start on what that value proposition is going to be to your clients because of your past experience, and you can tap into that. Oh, I didn't
until you started talking. I was afraid that I didn't have any value proposition, and I didn't quite understand it until you started explaining everything. And then I guess I do.
You do. I think everybody does. It's just, like I said, it's a lot of what I've learned through Keller Williams is your mindset. You have to change your mindset. You have to start believing in yourself. 2.5 weeks in, look at Nicole. I haven't done door knocking since I started. So to me, that's very impressive. To me, the value that I see in Nicole right now is that she is willing to challenge herself and do the things that are not necessarily easy or pleasant, but she tackled it and she did it. And so now the next time she does it, it'll be easier for her. So I think, honestly, what I can think of right now, Stephen, is from that past experience, think about how that agent made you feel. I mean, here you are buying a house with your wife and 2 children, and she's just making it so unpleasant. For why? For what was her reasoning? You know, she's just unethical. I know a lot of agents like that.
It was you've been in the field longer, but you could feel the money and the greed just seeped off of her. I mean, we got postponed because she started explaining to all her problems about her $1.5 million contract that she was dealing with, why she couldn't reach me, and tried to go into a whole bunch of other stuff as well. But you could feel it. She was only about the money, and that was it.
She's not gonna be in business for very long. I think there's an agent like that here in Sierra Vista, and I could really take a lot of the experience that I've had dealing with him, and that just makes me want to do better because I've dealt with past clients of his. And I just could not imagine giving anyone that kind of experience. Anyone. What were you saying, Bernie? Commission? Breath. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I did tap into that a little bit. You know, you have to put your needs and your wants aside, and it will always come back to you. It will. Sometimes you will make money, sometimes you will lose money, but in the end, now sitting here right now, 4.5 years later, I have helped a lot of people. I have paid for home inspections, cleaning their house, whatever they needed. And people will pay it forward. They will remember that each and every time. Let's see what's next. Okay, so now that we have a value proposition in the works, I know it's gonna take some time, you know, even after this class, for you all to sit down and say, okay, so this is it. This is gonna be my value proposition. I would really work on this because, like I said, everything else will come. There's going to be plenty of classes and things that you're going to be able to learn. But if you can really define what your value proposition is that you're going to deliver to your clients, I think it's going to be crucial moving forward, because once again, it's going to hold the standard for your business. And that's what we want. You know, we have high standards for ourselves. All of us do. You know, we're here. We're taking the time to take this class and learn. So the sooner you do that, the better. And another important thing is we are going to follow through. Whatever that value proposition is that we're going to set for ourselves, we're going to follow through each and every time. Another thing that was on my thing that I don't have a slide, but if you can Google it, the Keller Williams Realty Belief System. And I think it's part of what creates a stellar experience for our clients. Very important. And it's funny, you know, I read them and I can connect to everything. So it has to be a win-win or no deal. We have to be acting, of course, you know, with a fiduciary duty to our client, but there's another side. If you always conduct your business and your goal is to have a win-win transaction, win-win situation, it's always going to work out for you. Build good relationships with the other agents. It's crucial. Those, yep. Print them, and I printed this very pretty one. I don't know how to share it, so but I'll try to email it to you. Do the right thing. Always work with integrity. Always do the right thing. Believe me, you're gonna encounter some agents that you're gonna ask yourself, how are they still in business? How is it possible that there's people like this still holding the real estate license? I don't get it. Don't be like that. Commitment in all things. Be committed. Be committed to yourself, to your business. Be proud of what you're doing, where you are. You have your license. The test was not easy. The school, the change, having the courage to be an independent contractor and not have, you know, a regular paycheck coming in. It takes a lot of courage. So be committed to your business, be committed to your values. Communication. I pride myself in having good relationships with all the agents that I work with. Even if it's the one that I, feel like, they could have done a better job, or I feel they did something unethical. I will always have that good relationship because in the end, I am servicing my client. Be creative. You need to be very creative in this business. Every transaction is going to be different. Be creative and make sure that your goal is always to provide the best service for your client, whether it's selling their house so they can move on to their next adventure, or finding that dream home for your buyer. Customers always come first. I think we've tapped into that enough. And then I think the next one is teamwork. Teamwork and communication, I think, go hand in hand. And once again, make sure that all along the way, you're building good relationships with all the people involved in the transaction. And trust, we've talked about trust and your fiduciary duties, but also, with your vendors, with your lenders, with all the people that you work with, you have to make sure that they're trusting you. They're going to refer you clients, and they're going to trust that you're going to do a good job for them. Success results through people. And you're going to see that, if you can make those personal connections like we've talked about before, and leave them in the end with a good feeling, it's a happy time for people. Either they're selling and they're moving to Yuma, where they're going to be closer to family, or they just moved here and they're new to the area, and you help them find a house, you help them find a hairdresser, you connected them to the cable company that you use or have heard good things about, a plumber. To me, that's a successful transaction. You help somebody get established in a new community. And I think that's going to distinguish yourself in your business from other people. So now I want to ask you guys from this session, what ahas have you had? We've talked about your value proposition and how we didn't even know what it meant. So now I want you guys to share a little bit with me about what that means to you now. I'm going to start at the top of my screen, and that's Nicole. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh,
There you go.
I think my biggest aha, again, I think I already said it, but is just how important it is to market a genuine self as I build the business. So I really like finding that belief system written down there, maybe even to use that in whatever marketing or social media stuff, because I really like what that is saying, because it's very genuine.
Yeah. So the Keller Williams Realty Belief System, it's the WI4C2Ts, and you will hear this come up and up again. So Google it, print it. I found this really cute. If I can find a way to email it to you guys, I will, because I really like it.
Thank you.
And what about for you, Desiree?
Pretty similar. Being able to put this together, I feel is going to be wonderful, just for the opening communication with someone to really get across how genuine you are. Like Nicole said, it'll actually, I feel, make that whole transaction just be smooth. I mean, because like you had said earlier, who wouldn't want to hire you if you possess those capabilities to be? I mean, no one's going to go in and say, oh, I don't want an honest person, you know? So just like being so basic and in front, I mean, in a way you're selling yourself, but it's also just who you are. So I think it makes it easier to talk to somebody too, because you're just being yourself.
Absolutely. And I put the belief system in the chat in a PDF, so you guys can have that and look at it. Heather, what about you? What ahas did you have in this session?
Well, how to phrase that? I like the, sorry, I've been very distracted by my one-year-old.
It's fine.
He's
And,
very
and like I
frustrating
said,
lately.
we're gonna miss a lot of information, but you have your guides. Go back and I go back once in a while for my first Ignite binder that I have. And I'm like, oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. So you always have these things. Don't feel overwhelmed. Just go back and revisit when you can.
I will. I do like the discussion of, we all have our own strengths and weaknesses that we're bringing, and it's important to turn that mirror into yourself and see what is it that you're bringing.
I love that. That's perfect. Bernie?
I liked when you talked about CMAs, because it brought the idea, because Zillow has the Zestimate, which is all the time they'll bring the Zestimate up and they're like, oh, my house is worth this much, and then I do a CMA on it and they find out either the house isn't worth as much or it's worth even more than what the Zestimate is bringing. And I thought that was a pretty interesting thing that I could bring to the table that's unique from, like, separates myself, really.
Another thing of value that you can bring. Marla?
Finding my unmute. Yeah, I thought that was cool, Bernie.
I can't hear you. Did I mute?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I think it was me.
Okay. No, I thought that was cool what Bernie just said. Someone that likes to do CMAs, that's not my strength, but Charity does that. But that brings a lot of value. I mean, it's very impressive when you could go to a client and say, look, this is what your property's worth. I've done this study on it and compared it to others in your neighborhood. And yeah, that brings a lot of value.
Yeah, I like that. So that's another idea. If you like numbers, if you like that, because not all agents do CMAs.
Right.
Even when you go into a listing appointment, what I used to do is I used to look at comparables. And then that's how I would come up with the price, which always leaves you with I was worried. But now that we do the CMA and they're very accurate, I think that's very, very valuable. Let's go to Jennifer.
I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me. My phone has been cutting out like a lot. Can you hear me? Oh, maybe not.
I can hear you. It is choppy, but we can hear you.
Okay.
Nope, we lost you.
Okay, if it cuts out, I'm sorry. I have 1 bar of service right now.
Oh my goodness.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me. So I think the same thing. I really need to focus on how to learn how to do CMAs, because I would love to be able to bring that to the table. Fear-wise, talking to people. I used to be a military wife for 10 years, so I really bring moving around, and I have people everywhere. I'm just needing to find people here in Tucson. But for what I bring to the table, it's kind of just, I know how to move, and I used to be a leasing consultant for apartments. So when it comes to showing homes and opening doors and waiting for who wants to actually be toured, or the ones that just want to walk in, see it all, and leave.
Yeah, so I think that's very valuable. And I always hear in trainings, people who are new to the area and you don't have a lot of contacts. I think that gives you, if anything, the opportunity to be more creative. And just like Nicole, she went door knocking. Even if that's not your thing, you can find, your current employment and start there. If you go to church, you know, there's activities that I'm sure we can find where it'll ask you people that you already know that you're not even thinking about that you already know.
Mhm.
And it's funny to think about it that way, you know, like Bernie, he knows a lot of people, but they're all either still in high school or in college. But so what he did, he sent a letter to all of his teachers because they, you know, he just graduated high school. So of course they'll gonna, you know, they still remember him. So he wrote to them and told them, you know, he was in real estate. So once again, you just have to be very creative, but you will find whatever works for you. Thank you for sharing, Jennifer. Robin?
I did actually, sorry, if you have,
Go ahead. Oh, I thought she had something else to say. So Robin?
The biggest thing is finding value, because a lot of times I find myself not believing in myself, and this is really going to push me into believing that yes, I can do this and I can be really great at this, not just good but really great, and that's going to be the thing that's going to make the difference, I think. And just believing in myself. And if I can convey that to any of my clients, any of them, they're going to have that confidence in me regardless.
Absolutely. And I think that's something, you know, that we all face. And I think it comes in waves, you know, just believing, number one, in ourselves. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, we're not going to convey that message to our clients. I think it's invaluable, Robin, to tap in and plug into the education that this company has to offer. Because educating yourself, knowing what you're talking about, your market, it's going to give you confidence automatically. So attend all the classes. Like I'm always looking at the calendar, and if I can make it, I'm just listening. Because like I tell Bernie, you learn something from somebody all the time, even if it wasn't from me today, maybe listening to Desiree or Heather or Bernie or Nicole, Marla, somebody said something here today that made an impression. Even if it was just, you know, 2 or 3 words, somebody made an impression on you, and that in itself is going to give you confidence. So thank you for sharing, Robin. And Stephen, what were your ahas from today? I think you've already, you know, pretty much. So just recap.
My ahas, I guess at first I didn't think it was a necessary step when it first came to it. Like I said, I was confused about the proposition in the first place. But when you go through it, and for all the reasons that my wife and I chose Keller Williams in the first place because of all their standards and everything, and then hearing this, how you already have come from another one, because none of us new ones know if we made the right choice or not.
Yeah.
And we're all learning that we made a pretty darn good choice by coming to Keller Williams, that between the technology, their core beliefs, and how we believe, we can bring so much to it that it makes me, like everybody else, even though I'm a social person, I have massive anxiety. I can put the face on like the rest of us, but I wanted it to be a natural face. I wanted it to be me. And the more we do this and the more we get used to the propositions and stuff, it makes me more, I already want to go talk to people. And I've noticed the changes already in the way I think, just walking out the door, seeing my neighbors and stuff. So
I love that. I love that. And I feel the same. You know, I can relate to you. Very impressed, you know, by this company and the people, because the more, you know, me being here since January, I've gotten to know Heather and Big Dan and other people that are just inspiring. So I'm very excited for you as time goes on, because it's going to validate what you're feeling right now. It's only going to get better. So thank you for sharing that. I don't know if Kristen is available.
Can I throw something in right now that just happened?
Yes.
So I I apologize about, sampling the day. But when I came in, we were talking about taking care of people, not the paycheck. And I missed Steven's conversation on what happened with their agent. I would love, and I'm going to go back and watch the recording so I can hear what happened. But got to use that, get rid of that word. And to fortify the belief, I have a couple of bankruptcy houses I'm listing and needed to get the locks changed on them. The locksmith had to come to my house right now. I'm working from home today to get paid. And I gave him his paycheck. He asked me, how's the market? How's things going? Do you think it's going to change? I asked him, we'll go into scripting on it later, but I just asking questions, being curious. And then we started talking. I got all of his contact information, his mailing address, his lender, got him set up with my lender and moving forward. And he told me that he's glad he's finally met an agent that's not worried about busting their numbers and just looking to help people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, you feel that as a core to people when they know you've got commission breath, they can tell you're after the deal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I went out and talked to this guy like, hey man, here's my money. Thanks for doing a job for me. I had no anticipation of it being a lead, but he said the right thing and my brain is all, let's do it. But it was nice because it was literally that exact moment where you guys were talking about fortifying relationships and building that. He goes, you know what, Dan, I'm excited, man. It's great. Thank you so much. As I told him, I was like, now that you've met me, you're going to run into people all over Tucson who know I am. He's like, yeah, I know. Big Dan. I've already heard your name. But he's like, I know you take care of people and I appreciate that. That's what it's about. So that will get you so far in your career by willing to telling somebody, and your value proposition is that you care about people. Care more about them than the pay, you will get a lot further than anyone else. And the name of the agent she's talking about in Sierra Vista, I did a deal with him. I know exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah. So I think Christian unmuted himself. He wanted to share something.
Yeah, I really enjoyed your comments about the value proposition. I have a couple who came here from Oregon staying in my guest house, and I've gotten to know them a little bit over the days because they've had trouble. They're repairing a home that their aunt who died here in Tucson, they're trying to get it ready. So they've been calling me about pool person, someone that can haul away stuff, someone that can fix some carpentry and sheetrock. So I've been helping with all that. So I went over there last night to visit because they were having trouble extending their stay for another week on Airbnb. So I went over there to help them. So the next thing you know, they have a glass of wine for me. We go outside and sit on the patio and talk. And they said, is that your business card up on the refrigerator? Because I just have them on there like on a little clippy on the refrigerator. I said, yeah. I said, oh, well, we might be looking, we're going to try to prepare this house to sell. So then she said, well, I have a queen, one of those adjustable beds in the house that you can have if you want. And then there's a smoker and a barbecue too, brand new that the guy bought that we can't get rid of. And if you want them, I said, oh, sure, that'd be great. So that now we have a nice conversation. But, when they asked me about my business card, I didn't have like a really like elevator speech to kind of roll it out to them. I just said, yeah, those are my cards and I do real estate, but it's not, it's important, I think, to have that elevator speech or, a real description of what you do. So it kind of sticks in their mind. That's all I have.
Absolutely. And I think, all of us at some point, and it's going to happen, we're not always going to be 100% prepared. Like Big Dan just said, he wasn't even expecting a lead today, but then, with his experience and practice and everything, it just comes naturally. So I think a lot of the script practices that we do, the more we do this, the more we learn and participate in classes. I can tell you for myself, just plugging in, agreeing to do this class, talking to people, it just becomes natural and more comfortable. So we'll get there, Jennifer. So Big Dan, are we at the end of our time here?
You are. You have satiated the desires of all the time clocks for this class.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was gonna be possible. I'm like, 2 hours? Yeah, but everybody was
You can
great.
talk for a long time, but I think this is one of the most influential classes you can have. And it's starting to change your mind around that. And as the great Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want.
Yep.
Remember that. So it's all about taking care of others. And I will leave you on that note. Xenia, thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bernie,
Thank you,
thank you
Xenia.
for supporting her and keeping her on track.
Thank you.
The rest
Thank
of you,
you,
thank you
Xenia.
so much for your interaction and hanging out. I know it's super helpful. Would you like to have her back to teach another class?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, for those of you watching the recording, please put a comment in the link there so I know that you watched it, or send me some questions. Other than that, if you need anything else, reach out to us. We're here for you. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Ignites at 9 a.m. Sorry about the switch back and forth, but we're back on the 9 a.m. track tomorrow. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your days. Go out there and add how many people to your database? 10. How many people you talk to from your database? 10. How many homes are you viewing a week? 10. How many note cards should you write every day? 10. All right. I'm going to stop the recording on that. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.